Our third solution today is called Women Techsters, and Dewura Oladepo from Nigeria is the leader of Women Techsters. She is bringing training to underserved communities. She's had amazing success in Nigeria. She's ready to scale this program across Africa to help bring digital and technical skills to women across Africa. This is a much needed set of skills to help enhance careers and livelihoods, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dewura, and I work with Tech for Dev. So I'd like to tell you a story about a young lady called Fatima Ahmed. Fatima is one of the beneficiaries of the Women Techsters program, and she's come from an underserved community in Ilorin in Nigeria. Fatima looked for a job for a really long time and stumbled on the Women Techsters program through a friend of ours. She went through our 2-week training program, and at the end of the training, she was able to get an internship placement as a front-end developer with a top software company in Lagos. 3 weeks into the internship, Fatima did get selected into the Microsoft Leap Engineering program, which is Microsoft's commitment towards building women software engineers in Nigeria and in Africa. There are a lot of women out there who want to be just like Fatima, but do not have access to the requisite skills to do so. And this is because there's a huge gender gap between men and women in the technology ecosystem in Nigeria and across Africa. As you can see behind me, for every 10 people in technology in Nigeria and Africa, 9 are men and 1 is a woman. So the Women Techsters program was actually born out of the need to bridge the digital divide between men and women in the technology ecosystem. Our mission is further strengthened by an African proverb that says, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Yeah, thank you. So women play a very vital role in economic development, and we think it's very important to provide them access to such opportunities. So talking a bit about the Women Techsters program the Women Techsters is an experiential learning program for women within the ages of 16 to 40, teaching them digital and deep tech skills across 5 tracks: web and mobile development, games development, Internet of Things, data science, and artificial intelligence. And we did this with 3 objectives in mind. We wanted the women to get access to jobs. We wanted them to study STEM at a more advanced level, and we wanted them to actually go start up their own technology businesses. So we did a pilot called the Nigerian Women Techsters, which was done in Nigeria, and we had tremendous results. We've trained over 2,475 women across 12 communities in 12 states in Nigeria, and 25% of them are currently in a STEM-related course right now in universities and advanced level. 70% of them have started careers in STEM, and 5% of them are starting their own businesses at sort of like an MVP level. Here are some of the partners that made this possible for us: Microsoft, GIZ, and some of the state governments in Nigeria. And so I know a big question in people's minds are, how many more Fatimas can we train? Are there job opportunities for them out there? I would say a big yes. According to the IFC, by 2030, 230 million jobs in sub-Saharan Africa will require digital skills. And hence the reason why we have this ambitious goal where we're going to train 5 million women by 2030 across Africa. So what do we need to get to where we're going? Partners, partners, partners. We need financial partners who could support our learning delivery. We need technology and infrastructure partners such as partners with connectivity that could provide us innovation hubs, corporate partners, and among others. And we also need learning delivery partners that could help us strengthen our curriculum and provide some sort of mentorship for our women. You could follow us, our progress and our work at our website and our social media handles, and we do hope that you help us to be able to get women a place in the future of work. Thank you.
Okay, if our acceleration partners could please join us on stage. Thank you, Dewura. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah. My name is Ashit Patel, and I work with Salesforce, where we believe that the business of business is to improve the state of the world. What you're doing is amazing because, as we all know, that a key driver of GDP is a very vibrant, strong, skilled women in workforce. And that's what you enable at scale and with very low cost. You've proven that in Nigeria, and as you guys reach out across the African continent and beyond, I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys develop the tech partnership as well as corporate partnerships to make that happen, and would like to hear more thoughts from you on that.
Okay, so thank you. We're looking to the kind of a bit of partnerships that we're working on in terms of technical partnerships. We're looking for learning delivery, like I said earlier, learning delivery partners. We're looking to strengthen our curriculum. So we're looking for some sort of like organizations that have content. So we're looking towards like building like a larger platform where we can aggregate content for the women to actually go on in their learning phase, to actually go learn more on the platform. So it's one thing to come to the program for 2 weeks. It's another thing because this is a lifelong journey, and it's important that there are access to resources for them to be able to go ahead and do this. So that's very important to us. Then the mentorship as well for the women, it's very, very important to us. We're looking for organizations who are passionate about women and their development and can serve as some sort of like role models to these women. Because one of the surveys that we did personally, one of the major reasons why the women said they were not interested in technology was because most of the role models, right, are male. So we're looking at a situation where we could have more women who could come into the program and show them the girl power and say, you can do this, right? You can become who you want to become, and these opportunities out there exist for you. Thank you.
I'm Radhika Shah, representing the SDG Philanthropy Platform, which is a global platform launched in 8 countries, bringing government, UN, and philanthropy together. I want to applaud the work of Women Techsters in Nigeria, making technology education an equalizer so that we can achieve SDG 5, especially at this moment when we have transformational leaders like the Deputy Secretary General, also from Nigeria, Amina Mohammed, transforming the world. It's exciting to see how you're creating so many others like her. My question is, how can we, the SDG Philanthropy Platform, help with partnerships with UN, government, philanthropy? How could we add value?
So we're basically looking for, like I said, like partners. So we're looking more at, for example, within the UN, for example, would be like the UN women. We're also looking at the UNDP. We're also looking at the ITU. They will be like very important partners for us to onboard, for us to be able to sort of scale our work. We're also looking for like our government partnerships because we understand the critical role of advocacy and the critical role of having government support behind you. You're able to go further in terms of implementing the program that way. So those kind of partnerships will be very critical to us and will be helpful.
Dura, what you're doing is amazing. And you know, empowering women drive the economy of the African continent, and that's the reality that we need to face. And I really want to know how can I, from Startup Bootcamp, sorry everyone, my name is Matabani from Startup Bootcamp. I really want to know how we can partner together with you to take women, put them in jobs, and accelerate the technology landscape and innovation landscape across the continent.
Okay, so in terms of the jobs bit, it's for us it's quite important that the women are able to, you know, get into some level of like, how do I put it? So get them into the kind of jobs that are quite important for them in terms of the learning tracks that we had mentioned. So in terms of the entrepreneurship bit, we're looking more for our like your organization, like innovation hubs that can assist us with mentorship and funding for the women who want to go into the entrepreneurial track. Very important for them, such that they can continue with what it is that they've started out. Quite a number of them, like I said, are already at some level of MVP. They're now currently looking for some level of funding to advance the work that they do. So it's very important to us if we can get like access to sort of like innovation hubs that can help us achieve those goals.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mariamite Brahanu. I am by profession a civil engineer. I've been working in civil engineering for about 10 years now, and I also did my master's in civil engineering. So I learned about the Take for Dave program on Facebook, and when I saw it, I was actually excited because it said a 6 months program. It used to worry me if I joined Take, it would like take me like the usual university programs, maybe 5 years, 4 years. I used to think like that. So when I saw it was a 6 months program, it relieved me. And so I took the exam, and fortunately I passed, which was really great for me. I used to think that it was a complicated thing. Coding, whatever take courses, I used to think they were very complicated. And when I joined, I learned that coding is simply a language, and you learn just like you learn French, just like you learn English, and like you learn language to programming language. So that's the first thing, that I learned when I joined the Tech for Dev program. I joined the data science program. So with everything is all about solution giving and all about making good business decisions. So it's all about simplifying things, which really rhymes with my thinking pattern. I learned how to think, I learned how to ask critical questions, and I also learned how to, answer those questions critically and to the point. And I also learned that how I can, with the soft skills and everything, how I can communicate what I have worked on, because there are layman people and there are also people like us. So they have to integrate, in order to understand each other. And that I learned it through visualizations and also through the soft skills. So it was a really good 6 months stay for me. Thank God I managed it. So this seems like how my Tech for Dave story is. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I know you're joining us from different parts of Africa. Some people are in Nigeria, some people are in. What country are you in? Let us know in the comment section. Drop a comment saying the country you're in. We're super excited to have everyone here right now. My name is Molwa Funsho Omidiji, but my friends call me Funsho Waters. I am the digital media lead at Tech for Dev, and today we are going to be having our first info session for the Women Techsters Fellowship class of 2024. I know a lot of people have been waiting on us to share the news, and a lot of people have been excited since we shared it on our Instagram and all other social media platforms. I am not here alone today. I am joined by with the Women Techsters programs lead. I would allow her speak and introduce herself. Blessing, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me. Good afternoon to you from wherever you're joining, or rather, maybe good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from. My name is Blessing, as my colleague has rightfully introduced me. I am the Women Techsters Programs Lead at Tech for Dev, and I'm really excited that we are doing this here today. So I know the question has been, when is the next Women Techsters Fellowship application going to be opening? What should I expect? What should I look forward to? I won't want to let the cat out of the bag yet. I would just like to say welcome for wherever you're joining us from, and trust me, it's going to be an amazing session. For sure, I'm sure
So,
that is.
Blessing, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to tell your people that have been waiting for so long about the next class? How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
12. So there's no scale for this. I am super excited. We've been planning, towards this class of 2024, and I think that I am super excited because of the opportunity the Women Techsters Fellowship brings to the table, the livelihood, the women, I mean, change of lives for women, transformation for women, the ability to engage with other women, and I think I'm also excited because I'll be able to see more women come on board. And of course, because of the fact that there's also a little bit something a little extra to what we are doing this year, like expansion into other countries. So, I'm really excited about the class of 2024. Really excited.
Yes, so I'm aware that we just graduated over 840 students for class of 2023. What's the next phase for people like that?
Okay, so for the class of 2023 that we just graduated, many of the women have identified what they would like to do next. For some people, they are looking into entrepreneurship, starting their tech-enabled businesses, and we are providing adequate support to ensuring that they are able to get going with this. For some other persons, they are looking to continue within based off the learning track. For some people, they came from a non-technical background to coming into a technical background. So for some of them, they are looking to internship. Some people have started their internship already. Some people already started getting freelancing roles or gigs. And the overall goal for us is for women to be improve their financial livelihood, and we are really glad that we're able to do that. Of course, for some it's step by step. Some people haven't gone through the class of 2023, are looking to learn more, which is also great. But for us, is you're not stopping from the skill set you've gained. You're moving, you're learning. If you're able to get entry level roles, you're able to get internship roles, you're able to land yourself gigs, and that's really joyful for us. And I would say that if you have been following through with the class of 2023, you know of multiple stories that we have posted. I know of one that stood out. Everyone stands out anyway, but when we want to talk about the story of resilience, not giving up, there are a lot of stories you can share. First, from the one from the lady who was in an IDP camp, that's an internal displacement camp for a while on the program, to somebody who had to borrow a laptop just to get started on the program, somebody whose support system lost his job, so she had to depend on GoFundMe, like family and friends supporting to get data going. There are a lot of stories, and I'm really excited at the livelihoods, the change for women, improvement in their financial, the ability to stay financially buoyant, and really, I'm excited.
Thank you so much, Blessing. I can imagine that the ladies that are joining us from all over the world are there thinking, this can be my story. Oh, this can be my story. And really, it's going to be your story very soon. I can't all on board in such a way that we can now then tell your story, follow your journey from beginning to the end. Blessing, being the Women Texters lead, I know that you have first-hand information on what exactly we were trying to solve when we started the Women Texters Fellowship. I know we just listened to Diwura, our executive director, speak to us just before we started this live session fully. But I want you to speak to the kind of problems that we saw, or the problem we saw that made us decide that yes, Women Texters Fellowship is the next big thing for us to embark on, not just in Nigeria, but like in 15 African countries. I need you to speak on that.
Okay. So let me start first from COVID-19 that happened in 2020. That was a reality for us. Nobody expected COVID. And statistics actually spoke to the fact that most of the people from the receiving end of the COVID, I mean, everybody was affected, but mostly women and girls were affected. They were affected because a lot of women, their dependency was on either their spouse, their father, their brothers, their uncles. maybe a job. It could also be a job, or I mean, a job that is not sustainable. And so when COVID happened, people lost their jobs, especially for people who did not have jobs that were not relevant at that point in time. So the whole COVID also exposed the fact that a lot of women were at the forefront. I mean, they were faced with domestic and gender-based violence, and of course, because of the fact that the breadwinner, is not working, and so poverty is a trigger. So this triggered a whole lot of things, and um, COVID-19 taught us the fact that if you want to do something, then you have to do it very well. And you also have to think about the sustainable bit of whatever it is you are doing. How sustainable is the skill set? Nobody's saying that taking a role as a janitor is not a wrong role. It's not a wrong role, but it's not a sustainable role. And also looking at the fact that the for example, if you have like 5 children, or you have like 6 children, or you may not even have children, you have dependencies like your siblings, like your parents, and the money you are being paid may not be sufficient to be able to cater for this. And I'm sure if you watch the video before now, Dura mentioned that there's a popular African proverb that says that if you train one man, if you train a man, you've trained an individual, but if you train a woman, you've actually trained an entire nation. And I think that is actually not cliche. It is what it is. So one of the things that we're trying to solve at that point in time was to help women, gain access to different jobs, help women, knowing the fact that a lot of people are dependent on women, that's their family. Like, take for example, if a woman should have $100 for example, she would think mostly about her husband, her children, her sibling, her parents, her brothers and sisters. But if it's a guy that has the $100, he would first of all think about other things before he considered the parents. So this is not to say that they are not considerate, but this is just to say that this is also based off the makeup of a woman or the wiring of a woman. So we talked about the fact that there is a need to fill this gap. And aside from that also is that we understand that technology is like the life changer. Like, there's a recent movie that we saw in Nigeria, and somebody was saying, it was in Yoruba though, in Yoruba dialect, but I translate in English. He said that they said if I learn how to code, it will take me to San Francisco. This is just to say that the opportunity that you gain from tech is wild. It's not limited to your home zone and your time zone. So what we are trying to solve then was we are trying to empower women to be self-reliant, trying to empower women, to be able to gain access to decent job. We're also trying to empower women, understanding the fact that because they are always at the front, they are the forerunners of majority of homes, giving them skill sets that would also not separate them from their children, from their families, from their loved ones. So for example, if you are skilled with if you have a technical skill, there's a very high probability that you can access a job that gives you flexibility. You can work hybrid, in some case you can work virtual, like remote. So that's another thing that we thought about. And then we also thought about the fact that we also want to improve the economic livelihood of this woman. And we know that with tech skills, with technical skills, your earning power is increased, your ability to negotiate is improved. And so that's another thing we thought about. And so this was what bettered the Women Techsters. So the Women Techsters first started in 5 African countries in 2021. We were in Ghana, Egypt, Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya. And then after the 5, in 2022, we also thought about we need to do more, we need to expand. We see the possibilities from the 5 African countries. We see where our women are, we see what they are doing, we see how their lives have transformed. And so for the class of 2023 last year, for the calendar year, we increased to 15 African countries. So we retained the 5 African country, and then we included 10 African countries. And the result has been amazing. The result has been out of the world. Like, while we were going into the 15 African countries, some of the things that we saw, we didn't envisage, but going into the 15 African countries, we're open to the fact that a lot of women, despite the fact that we're still in 15 African countries, there is still a lag. A lot of women still do not have this opportunity. A lot of women still do not have access. A lot of women still do not know about this. A lot of women are still afraid of getting into tech because for some very weird reason, our culture has played a major role. Some people, you hear that the brain of a man is different from the brain of a woman, and so a man should do tech and a woman should do other courses, and that's part of the bias that we're trying to break. And we're really glad that we're able to do that within the 15 African countries. So now for this year, we have another surprise. Okay.
Thank you very much, Blessing. That was very insightful. I think that what you majorly was saying was we identified that there was a gender divide in the technology ecosystem, and we sought to bridge that gap to make sure that women are well represented in the technology world. We also thought about the fact that we wanted to improve the economic livelihood of these women, to make them more independent, to make them more of able to cater to their families and their friends and all of that. And I'm glad that that's exactly what we have been doing. And we've heard testimonials, like plethora of stories of women who have shared how they were able to move from not being able to afford anything to being able to now even secure themselves job. There are women who I know, even from telling their stories, that would apply for internship, and some have even gone from just internship to directly getting a full-time role, which is absolutely amazing. Blessing, one thing I know is a lot of people are always confused when it comes to our social media platform. Even in this comment section, I can already tell that people do not know the distinguishing factor between the Women Techsters Fellowship programs that we run. I would like you to speak to some of these programs we run and distinguish between them. So the Women Techsters Open Day, the boot camp, and the masterclass, the fellowship, in such a way that people understand that what we are here to do or speak on is the fellowship and not the boot camp. So I want you to expand a bit on the kind of programs we run in Tech for Them, specifically to the Women Techsters Fellowship, and then let's just distinguish there so that we don't have recurrent questions over and over.
All right, thank you so much for sure. So I would say this first. Tech for Dev program, especially for the Women Techsters program, is classified under two umbrellas. We have the advocacy and we have the technical training. So under the advocacy, we have the Tech Girls Advocacy Drive, and then we also have the Women Techsters Open Day. Now, as the name implies, advocacy, what we do with this program is trying to advocate for women's participation in tech, trying to give them information about different tech opportunities and how they can, key into it and how they can also get started. The difference between the Tech Girls Drive and the Women Techsters Open Day is that for the Tech Girls Drive, it's a physical event. We mostly go to communities, religious centers, schools, institutions, and then our target audience are girls within the ages of 8 to 20 years. Girls who are, either in primary, basic, junior, or senior secondary school level. So it's a physical training. It's a physical meeting most of the time. We usually take advantage of assembly outreaches, commemorating international days and the likes. Now, for the open day, it's a virtual meeting. It holds every last Thursday of the month, and we have one holding on Thursday, which is the last Thursday of this month. We bring women, seasoned women within the technology ecosystem who are industry experts across the 8 learning tracks of focus or across the learning track of focus. Usually it's like a 2-hour session virtually online where you can get to learn from them. You ask questions around, you get to learn how they got started, what they are doing, how they face challenges, how they're able to navigate communities that helps them and the like. So that's for the advocacy bit. Now we have the technical training. Now, technical training is also varying. It's varying because it serves different purposes rather. So in case you're just starting, you're about to get into tech, you're wondering, how do I get started? What do I know what to do? I don't know anything about software development. I want to do software development. I just want to know if it's something I can do, because tech is broad and there are different learning tracks that you could focus on. So we always advise that you can then do the Women Techsters Bootcamp. Now, the Women Techsters Bootcamp is a 3 weeks virtual training. It's instructional led. So it means that although it's virtual, you're supposed to be in class because you have an instructor that will be in class for every day of the class. The bootcamp is 3 weeks. we segmented it into two. There's a weekday class and there's a weekend class. So the weekday class is between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day for the duration of the 3 weeks, while the weekend class is 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. On Thursday and Friday, and 10 a.m. on Saturday and 4 p.m. on Sunday. So it's a little flexible, the weekend class, so Thursday to Sunday, while the other is Monday to Friday. And then for the boot camp, we have 5 learning track in focus, which is product design, product management, software development, cybersecurity, and data analysis. So not data science, but data analysis. That's what we do. So for the 3 weeks, you get to also you are put in a group. You have a facilitator. You are also paired to do a project that would validate your completion of the program. You also have to take an assessment, from the get go. So I want to believe that the boot camp is clear. So the boot camp is 3 weeks every month. So every month there's always an application for the boot camp. Now for the fellowship. The fellowship is for people who somehow you probably have gone through a boot camp, you probably have a little knowledge around the learning track, a learning track of focus, and you're looking to expanding your knowledge. Now that's where the fellowship comes in. The fellowship is for 1 year, so 6 months of training, technical training, and a 6 month of internship. Within the fellowship, there are 8 learning track in focus, which is product design, product management, cyber security, data science and artificial intelligence, mobile application, 3D and mixed reality, software development. So for the software development, it could either be front end or it could either be back end. And I think there's one more I've left behind, but there are 8 learning tracking focus. So it's also for the fellowship. It's 6 months of virtual learning, but it's also is instructor design led. So there's an instructor in class. You're supposed to give a minimum of, so every day class starts at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday. And aside from that, is that you also get to do assignments every week. You get to participate in a soft skill training once every week. You get to be paired into a community. So whatever, depending on who you are, if you're a student, for example, there's a student community. If you're a mother, there's a cluster group for mothers. If you are working, there's a cluster group for workers, so that you can learn from people on how they are doing it and how they're able to navigate through. And then you also get to engage with people from other countries as well. So that's that for the fellowship. Usually it's best that you probably have a little bit of technical knowledge around a particular learning track. This is not to say that in the past we've not had people with zero knowledge participating in fellowship, but for effective optimization and so that you're able to scale through effectively, you're able to navigate. Because one of the things they always tell you is that there's money in tech, but one of the things that they never tell you is that you have to pay the price to get the price. So it's not a walk in the park. I mean, you have to make continuous effort. You have to put in your best. You have to give in the time. After your 4 hours class, you have to also go back and do the assignment that is there, take extra class, take extra courses. That is the way you do it. Now for the master class is for people who have gone through a boot camp, people who have gone through a fellowship, and at least they have 6 years to 5 years of experience within a learning track. Now, what we do during the master class is that we realize that technology is evolving and there are new technologies every day by day. And it's important that for you to be a boss at what you do is that you are learning as it's evolving. So the master class is a 1 to 2 day specialized training within specific learning track. So it means that for this particular month, the focus can be on a particular learning track. We bring like a facilitator, somebody who is an expert. Most of the time, is CEO, is CTO, depending on the focus. And then we pick a subject that is relevant at that particular point in time. That will be helpful for the participant of that is attending the master class at that particular point in time. I would say that all of our programs are for free. Sometimes it feels so good to believe, like it feels too good to believe, but the truth is that all of our programs are completely free. So there is a program that suits where you're coming from, and there's a program that suits where you want to go to. So you either want to do open day, like if this is your first time having an encounter with tech for them and you're not sure of what technicals, what you want to do, join the open day. And if you've gone through the open day and you're like, oh, I think I want to do product management, register for the boot camp. And after you've done the boot camp for 3 weeks, I feel like, oh, I think I want to go further and learn more, sign up for the fellowship. And then you're like, oh, I'm done with fellowship. I want to learn more, what's trending, during the master class. All right, Funsho.
That was like a full brief of what our fellowship programs is all about. And I love that you were able to distinguish between the different stages, because one of the things we get in the DMs all the time on our social media is, oh, I was trying to apply. Some people here now assume that the application is already live and that they missed the opportunity just because we just closed a boot camp recently. So it's important that we're able to tell the difference between the open day, the boot camp, the master class, and the fellowship program. So if you're here now and you're still confused, this is the Women Techsters Fellowship info session. This is for the class of 2024. So I guess that we are all on board and we all understand what the program is all about. If you have zero knowledge of where to start, go to the open day. That's where you would get to know what learning track you can go for. If you have not decided on the learning track and you know what you want, then go to the boot camp. Oh, you are done with the 3 weeks boot camp and you're fine. Now you think that you want to transition fully into technology. Come for this fellowship session that we're having now, which is like the Women Techsters Fellowship program. You are done with the Women Techsters Fellowship program and you are now like very good in the technology industry, then you can attend our masterclass. So I'm super glad that we are all on the same page, and then we can go fully into the Women Techsters Fellowship, the reason why we are here. So I have a number of questions that I want to ask based on maybe like the general things we would usually see in our DMs. And I'm sure that Blessing would have all the questions that we need. So sit tight. If you have questions, keep dropping them in the comment section. We have our team ready to pick up those questions when the time is right. But for now, I have some questions that I'd like to ask Blessing. So let's just start from the nitty-gritty. Blessing. This fellowship program, when can we apply? Or is it live already? And some people have started applying. We need to know. Let's see.
So the fellowship is not live yet. It will be live on the 27th of April. So it will be live 27th of April. Can you 27th of April? It is not going to be live by 6 a.m. WAT. No, it will not be live by 8 a.m. WAT. I need to say this so that you don't wake up on the 27th of April and you're like, today is 27th, why is it not open? But just stay glued. It will be live on the 27th of April WAT. Before COB, before end of day WAT, it will be live. Just keep looking forward to it. It's 2 days. Yes, it's 2 days to go. 27th of April, it will be out.
So I
It's not live
promise
yet.
you, yeah, I promise you that all the information that needs to go out as to when the application will be live will be on all our social media platforms by Thursday, in 2 days' time. Like, we are just very near. So don't come to our DMs and ask that same question. We are going to tell you about it. Don't worry. On Thursday, just sit tight. We are ready for you guys. So when the application goes live, Blessing, what do we do? How do we apply? What are the criteria? What do we need to have to be able to apply for the program?
Okay. So when the application goes live, what do you do? So I'm going to speak from maybe I'm not a reviewer, but I'm going to speak
Yeah,
from
an applicant's perspective.
yes, I'm going to speak from an applicant's perspective, and I'm going to speak from somebody who has reviewed the application before now. I'm going to speak from what they expect from you as well. So that because I think I've seen a question that somebody asked that what is the acceptance rate? And trust me, you don't want to know. Let me just say this. Last year we had over 14,000 applications for the Women Techsters Fellowship last year. And I think that it was about 1,000 plus people that started in class last year. So you can do the maths, so that you understand. This is not to scare you. This is just to say that you need to put in your best foot forward, when you want to to do it. But then that's not the question. Now, when the application goes live as a beneficiary, is I would like to say this, that as much as you want to submit your application on time, you would be given like a 3 to 4 weeks period to fill the application. So yes, it's important that you fill the application on time, but it's also important that you put in your best foot forward, because you cannot submit two applications. You can't submit two. Multiple submissions will lead to automatic disqualification. So you also want to put in your best foot forward. Now, when you get the application, I would ensure that you have access to active, like a good internet, so that you are not frustrated. If you know what I mean, it's easier when you have access to good internet. And some of the questions that you would probably be asked is why you are applying for the fellowship. It's important that you think through why you are applying and speak from the place of how the fellowship will benefit you. Of course, remember that we are only going to take the best of the best. By the best of the best, I mean we are going to take people who put in their best foot forward. So you may actually need the application, you may need the fellowship. I mean, you may really desire and need the fellowship, but if you don't put your best foot forward, you probably will just reduce your chance of getting in. So yes, you need to speak to why you are applying for the fellowship. How does fellowship benefit you? How would you being a Women Techsters fellow impact you and also impact your community? Because it's very important. We are not, remember I said that when we feed a nation, when we feed a woman, we feed a nation. We are improving a nation. So how will your participation in the Women Techsters Fellowship be beneficiary to you, be beneficiary to your community as well? These are things you need to think through. And then you also need to think through, what am I really applying for? What learning track? If you've not learned about any of the learning track in focus, the 8 learning track in focus, it's a good time for you to know about it before you apply. Because if you put in an application, you don't want to get to the point where you now say, I wanted to apply for data science, but my friend told me that it's hard. Now I want to change. It's better that you know what you're doing. Of course, because of the fact that there is a quota system for each of the learning track, it means that at one point we may need to take just the best of the best within each learning track, but then there will be room for other learning track that you can get in. So it's important that you're also preparing your mind through while you're applying for it, so that you don't reduce your chances of being selected or getting in, basically. So when you receive the application, when it's open on the 27th of April, go do well to apply for it, put your best foot forward, answer the question as you ought to, be intentional about answering the questions, be very, very intentional about answering the questions. Let me also say this: if you're applying for the program, it's important that you're also following Tech for Them on social media. I will say this for free to you. It's very important. Not because you want to, not because of followership, but because so that you don't miss out on important information. And because in the past you hear people say, "Oh, I was selected for the first stage, but I didn't I didn't see it on time." And the second, the application process has closed. But if you are following us on social media and you have like a notification turned on, you will always get information from Tech for Them. And also because if you want to participate in a particular program, it's also good that you are following, so you can spread the news. You can also share information with other people, basically. So yeah, once you see the application, put your best foot forward.
Thank you, Blessing. So what I'm hearing from you is it's important that you are very well prepared for this application. So think about it. We have provided a platform for you that is at zero cost. So to you as an applicant, it is a scholarship. How do you ace a scholarship? Scholarship is not meant for everyone. As much as it is available to everyone, not everyone will get in. And that's the honest truth. So, in order for you to secure your spot, you need to be ready for that scholarship. You need to be prepared for it. So, I would advise that when you see the application has gone live, go through it and just maybe start writing out the questions in your computer and then answer it, read it over and over, show it to somebody who is maybe a senior colleague. Oh, do you think I answered this question well? How can I fine tune this? How can I communicate because sometimes we have good intentions, but it's just the way we communicate our intentions that is not clear. So just make sure you're putting your best foot forward. Listen, I know you already mentioned the learning tracks that are available in this particular class of 2024. Please, can you reiterate those learning tracks so that people would know exactly the career path available for them in our program?
Okay, so that's fine. So for the fellowship, the learning tracks again, we have software development. So under the software development, there is a break to front end or back end. Then there is product design, there's product management, there's cyber security, there's data science and artificial intelligence. There's mobile application, there is blockchain, and then there is 3D and mixed reality. Yeah, so those are like the 8 learning track in focus. And somebody had already asked that if I do not have I know I saw a question around if I do not have prior knowledge, if I don't have prior knowledge, can I apply? I would like to say this again is that we strongly advise that you probably have like a prior, maybe a little bit of knowledge around your learning track, or you've done a little bit of research around your learning track or focus. But if you've not and you feel like you have the capacity to, you can as well, you know. But we strongly advise that you can take, I mean, you have the process to it. You can actually even do the boot camp because I know that although I know that there's a boot camp that has closed, but there's 2.7 that will be opening very soon. And you can do the 2.7 even before your application process is over, you know. So those are things that you can do. Yeah.
So I want to say that what Blessing is basically saying is, as much as we are saying, oh, you can go through all our programs from open day to bootcamp before you get to the fellowship, it's not like a prerequisite for you to make it into the Women Techsters Fellowship. So if you have not even attended any of that, even though we will advise that you attend any one of that, because that just gives you like the foundational knowledge you need to be able to ace your program. So I would say that yes, you can apply even if you have at least basic digital literacy. If you are a digital literate, you should be able to pass the Women Testers Fellowship. But what will prepare you more for it is if you've been in our system for a bit. But even if you're not in our system, you can still do it. So another question that people would usually ask is, how long is this program going to be for?
Okay, so the Women Texas Fellowship is 1 year, 6 months of technical training and soft skills training, and then 6 months of internship. So it's 1 year. But I mean, the training itself is for 6 months. The internship bit, you know, it's a continuous process, you know, because you know people always keep getting internship, you know, keep taking up freelancer roles. But the training itself is for 6 months. So once the class starts, once class commences, it lasts for an extended 6 month period.
So do we come to a physical center to attend this training, or what's the mode of delivery for the learning?
Okay, so the learning is virtual. It's completely virtual. Of course, because we're going into 22 African countries this year, and even for previous of 15 African countries, learning has been virtual. However, the fact that it's virtual is not a recorded class. It's a virtual. I like to call it virtual physical class because although you are in a space, you have a facilitator that is also in your space. So there's a class, like the way you go to school in the morning, same way, you have a facilitator that is in class for the entire 4 hours duration. Yeah, so I don't know if that's clear.
Okay, so you're saying that it's a virtual instructor-led training.
Exactly.
Okay, so you can be in Zambia, you can be in Gambia, you can be in Nigeria,
Anywhere. You
anywhere
can be in the 22 African country. Anywhere.
in, and you will
And
be
you are
fine. Okay,
yeah,
so far you have access
access
to
to
internet,
internet and Wi-Fi.
electricity,
Yes.
and all of that. Okay, thank you very much, Blessing. So somebody would ask, 6 months is a long time, you know. I have a 9 to 5. I just gave birth to my child. I mean, my baby is just 2 day old or just 1 month old. Am I going to, do you think I can combine my 9 to 5 with this program?
Oh yes. So I'll speak from the experience. I mean, looking at the fact that we've had three successful cohorts graduate from Women Techsters Fellowship, and for each of the cohorts, we've had unique stories. Let me speak from the most recent. Last year, we saw women who came into the program maybe a few weeks pregnant, and then we had, I'm sure we had close to 15 mini texters, because that's what we call them, and it was really exciting. Yes, we had a couple of them from different African countries. We had women, of course. One of the good thing about the fellowship is that we understand that as women, there are a couple of challenges, or there are a couple of things that will come around, I mean, along the way, like being pregnant, and pregnancy means different things to different women, because pregnancy differs by to the human body. So we allow you go through the program. The only thing is we ask you at every point in time that you need, to take maybe a break, or a break, maybe a day break, or even when you give birth, we give you time to maybe, like, depending on you, we give you time to be able to bounce back and then participate in class. But you also have to, it's because it's a class that is not a recorded class. So you have to graduate with everybody. So it's also your responsibility to see how much you're able to manage the entire process. For people who are working, I know that we had a couple of people, some people spoke to their employer about coming on the program, so actually, if you feel like your organization has a need and you're coming to the Women Techsters Fellowship to learn something that would solve the need of your organization, it's something that you can always speak to your organization. You can share if you get selected, you can share the admission letter with your organization, and you can have a plan around, okay, for the next 6 months, do you mind if I'm able to take the Women Techsters Fellowship program? I would say this Women Techsters program is a school. And I'm not going to mice words. It's a school. It's a school that requires, the same way you pay attention to a regular school, it's a school that also requires regular commitment. Of course, sometimes we are flexible, maybe in case you have one professional exam, you can always send a message, but it's a school that requires full-time commitment. Like, it requires full-time commitment as well. I'm saying it intentionally so that you know that, because I don't want to mice word and then you get like, I wasn't told. Oh my, you're told now. It's a school. It's a school that requires that you pay attention, you commit your time. But it's also fun because you're not doing this alone. You're doing this alongside amazing other women within your learning track. You have support system. Women Texas give you an amazing, amazing, amazing support system. You have other women looking out for you. There are times when I join classes, I see people say, they ask you at this, I've not seen you. They check up on you to be sure that you are fine and you are doing very well. So it's for you to make a decision to say, oh, are you able to manage this? Because you also have to be in class for the 4 hours. How do you want to do this? Do you want to speak to your employer? Whatever it is you want to do, whatever that works for you. In the area where you need support, you can always write to us and say, well, this is what I'm faced with. Can I take a break for 2 days? I will catch up this way. You also have a plan to catch up. Yeah.
So, Blessing, what I'm hearing from you is that it's an intense program and you just need to be able to dedicate the time that it needs. You also mentioned that averagely you spend 4 hours in class a day. So that's for you to have an idea of how much it will take your time. So it's important that nobody's going to tell you to quit your job. Nobody's going to tell you that. But it's important that if you have a job, you carry your employers along. And it's almost about how you communicate to your employers about it, because it's how you help them see the need. It's how you help them see that by the time I'm done with this 6 months training, I'll be of immense value to your team or to the organization. And that's how you're able to navigate that way with your employers. So help them see the value that you will bring to the table, especially if you have a 9 to 5 and you're just worried about how to go about it.
Sorry, Fusho, I just quickly want to add, because I remember that there is a story we have from the class of 2023 of Celestine, who was working at that time I think she was working as a receptionist or so, and she was
Yes.
working on the Women Texters program. She was working in a construction company, and so she joined the fellowship. And one of those days, I think her laptop was open and her boss stumbled on what she was doing. And that was it. Somebody that was doing, I had a job as a receptionist, moved almost immediately because they found out that the skill she had was relevant at that time. Like they really needed that skill at that particular point in time. So instead of hiring outside, they conducted their interviews and every other thing, and then they moved that role. So trust me, you can. It's the way you also tell your employer that matters, or it's how you say it also that also matters.
Thank you very much, Blessing. And again, I would say that there are a lot of stories. We have plethora of stories on our social media platform that would spur you to know that this program is it's a lifetime opportunity that you would not get on a platter of gold. And we have brought it to you at your doorstep. You almost don't have an excuse not to succeed. That's what we're doing. So you're saying that, oh, I can't learn the tech skills, the course is expensive, I'm not able to. We've given you a fellowship that's free of charge at zero cost. So don't come to our DM to say, hey, well, how much do I pay? Nothing. All we need is your passion, your hard work, your tenacity, your focus. That's all we need. We don't need anything from you other than for you to show up. And I think that that's the best gift we can give for you. I will give to you in the new year, right? Let me see other questions that people would usually ask. I think one of the question is, what do I need to have in place before applying? So in terms of maybe device, or can I have these classes on my phone? I do not have a laptop. What are the things that we would need in order to have a successful program?
Okay, so first thing first is that you need access to internet, a stable internet, and we strongly advise that you get a device, especially because it depends on the learning track you're trying to apply to. There are some learning tracks that you can't use your mobile device for it. And the reason why we also strongly advise that you get a device, that's a laptop, is because the class is a practical class. It's not the class that they ask you to watch a video and then they ask you to go and do it. So whilst the facilitator is working in class, you're expected to work alongside, and your mobile device is very, very limited, you know. So I know that the concern can be that, oh, I do not have access to a device, but I think that there's a lot of time right now you can plan to get access to a device. You may not need to own a personal device in the case where you don't have access to one. You probably have maybe a relative or a friend or somebody that you think you can utilize their device, for the duration of the program. We are sure that at the end of your program, it's going to be a life-changing experience for you, but so that you're able to have a seamless experience, be able to practicalize what is taught, you're able to participate in class because it's going to be a participatory class, is why we also strongly advise that you'll get access to a device. And then also very important is power, because you can have a device and there is no light or and the likes. So if you live in a country that power is not guaranteed, you need to also look at, okay, what are the alternatives? How can I ensure that I have access to device? How can I have access to power that would be sustainable for me during the entire duration of my program? And I think that one of the things that's also very important is that will be helpful for you to complete your program is have an open mind to learn. Even if you have a knowledge of the learning track before now, it's important that you also come into the program the mindset of learning. That way you're able to maximize the skill sets that you get, and you're also able to network, because I keep saying that you have a lot of women to network with. You have a lot of women to network with. When we started the class of 2023 last year, I remember we had similar conversations like this. While we were graduating, I could feel the energy. People were teary. I, for one, I also had like oceans flowing because I couldn't believe that we have exhausted the 1 year, the entire training duration. So it's a good time to learn as well, to meet with other people as well. for sure.
Thank you very much, Blessing. I think that we need to speed up a bit, but there are questions that I want to ask that I just need like straight answers to. What's the language of communication and instruction learning? Because I know that we're in 22 African countries. Some countries speak French, some speak other languages. What's the language of delivery?
Okay, the training will be delivered in English language, like it's in English language. So you have to at least have knowledge around English to be able to participate effectively on the fellowship.
So one recurrent question that people would usually ask is, I do not have a background in tech. I studied food and nuts. I studied biology edu. I don't have any background in tech. Am I still able to benefit from this program? Or do I need a university degree to participate in this program?
Okay, you do not require a university degree to participate in this program, regardless of your background.
Yes.
You do
Wow.
not. You do
Interesting.
not. Whether you studied, whatever it is you studied, whether you studied a language course, did medicine. I think in the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of medical doctors even participate in the Women Techsters Fellowship program because they are looking at how to also provide solutions to their patients' needs as well. So you don't have to have any background in tech, in a tech role. However, we also strongly advise that if you have a knowledge within a tech role, it's an advantage in some learning track. But this does not mean that you can't learn. So, for example, if you have a maybe knowledge around computer science, studied mathematics, you studied maybe economics, it may be helpful around some, but it's not, how will I say it? It doesn't mean that for someone who does not have this particular skill set or I didn't study this in university, does not mean that you can't do well. If you are dedicated to learning, you can always learn. The last class rep we had on Women Techsters class of 2023 studied religious studies. I mean, that's what she did in the university, and then she was in the software development learning track, front end, and she's doing amazingly well right now. So it's your tenacity to learn that will be helpful as well.
Oh, thank you very much, Blessing. So I know that I've gone through the comment section and I've seen some people's DP looking like a guy and all of that. I believe that some people are here to support, while some people are here to listen for their significant other and all of that. Can you please speak to the if men can actually participate in this Women Texas Fellowship?
Okay, so this Women Techsters Fellowship is strictly for women. Let me say this: Tech for Them offers other programs for men, but for this particular Women Techsters, as the name implies, it is Women
Women
Techsters
Texas.
Initiative. So we want to; it's only for women. So I'm sure they are here for their sisters, like you said, their significant others.
Okay. Thank you very much, Blessing. So again, I am in London, for example, but I am very well in Nigeria. Can I participate in this program, or do I need to be resident in an African country to participate?
Okay, so you have to be in any of the 22 African countries to participate in the Women Techsters Fellowship Program. So if you are a Nigerian that is in the US, you will not be able to participate because you have to be resident in Nigeria to participate. The program is for residents of 22 African countries.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. I think I am now open to hearing direct questions from the comment section, and I will be relying on our team to highlight some of those questions that you would want us to showcase so that we answer some of them. If there are any questions that we have not attended to and people are still like really interested in, then now would be a good time to highlight some of those questions. Blessing, is there a need for a motivational video, or what do people need to make a video to speak to their interest in this program? Or can you maybe speak on some of the requirements for the application?
Okay, so you need to do a video that speaks to why you are applying and why you should be selected for the fellowship program. But it's just a very short video. We just want to be sure that okay, you really want this opportunity, and you consider it as a life changing opportunity. So while you are doing your video, you also need to sell yourself and speak to why you should be selected and why you should be chosen for it. When you see the application, you would get further understanding as to what is really required for you, so that you can always go back to look at your application and then to be helpful while you are making your video. I mean, we are not as much as the number of fellows that come in on the program is very, very minimal. I would say that one of the reasons why the number is also minimal is because of the quality of what we offer. We want we want all fellows to be able to interact fully with their facilitators, or rather with their instructors, be able to get access to us as well. So every year we keep expanding our reach, because I know that the number from last year has also changed this year. We are reaching a larger number of people this year, and that's why we're also expanding to other African countries this year. But we also like to say that you put your best foot forward while you are recording your video. Give the best quality if possible, so that it's easy for whoever that is evaluate you properly.
Yeah, is there age limit for the women that can participate in this program?
Okay, so the Women Techsters Fellowship is targeted at women between the ages of 16 to 40 years. However, if you are less than 16 and you are more than 40 years, you can tell a very, very good story as to why you should be selected regardless of your age. I mean, the reviewing team will review your application, and then they will consider whether you fit in to come in or not. So, but however, the age is 16 to 40.
Okay, thank you very much. So you're saying that even though the age limit is 16 to 40, the possibility of swaying us if you have a good story to tell on how or why we should consider expanding the age limit to your category can be explored.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Blessing. I'm trying to go through the comment section to see the kind of questions people are asking. I would also mention again that our team can just help highlight some of these questions that you think that we might not have answered during this program. Again, I reiterate that Thursday is when we'll be going live, and the application will be live for the class of 2024. The program is free of charge, and yes, somebody said, can one participate in the fellowship without going through the boot camp? I believe that we already addressed it, and we said that yes, you can go through the fellowship without necessarily going through the boot camp, although we would advise that it's best to do that, go through the boot camp, because you then have like prior knowledge on how you want to go about the fellowship and all of that, but it's not a prerequisite. Are applicants from Morocco eligible to apply for the Women Techsters Fellowship program?
Okay.
Blessing.
Yes, applicants from Morocco are eligible to apply for the Women Techsters program.
Okay. I'm going through the questions too, and let's see if we have any other questions from people. Okay, so Blessing, there's some question that I would usually find in our DMs, and is regarding the program. You established earlier that the program is 6 months of technical training and 6 months of internship. Is getting into or getting an internship or getting into the internship program, is it an automatic um, stuff? Is it that when you're just done with the 6 months training, everybody gets to enter the internship program, or everybody gets a role and all of that? Is that how it goes, or what's the criteria for securing an internship opportunity after the technical training?
All right, thank you. So I would like to answer your question this way. Part of what we do on the fellowship is we are active soft skills. I mean, there's a soft skills training bit of the fellowship, and we are very intentional about it. During the soft skills training, we bring in experts, HR professionals, we bring in think about it. We've had amazing people, business experts, come to speak about different soft skill areas. So from collaboration to networking to working on teams to freelancing, it updates you and engage you on how to get yourself on a freelancing platform, how to sell your skill set. We do optimization of LinkedIn, optimization of resumes, how to write resumes, how to do a lot of things. So, and this is from like the first week of the training. Why we do this is because we don't want you to get to the end of the 6 months before you also get access to internship. In class of 2023, earlier in, even though the fellowship program, that's the training itself ended in March, we had some people who secured internship opportunities from December, from January. They were still in the training, but the organization believes that the skill set that they had was super great and they were willing to take them on board. Now, internship placement is it's a two-sided thing. So you can get your internship placement and Tech for Dev can also get you an internship placement. This is also dependent on the availability of the internship placement. And internship placement is also, it also varies based off the organization. So because this year we are going into 22 African countries, we have a team, an internship placement team that's working actively to sign up organizations or companies within the different countries. But they always have preference. Some people will say, oh, I'd rather have an intern who is living in this area, who is able to come in physically, or some would say, oh, I don't mind having an intern that will work remotely. So because of the variance of what the organization usually would require, that may maybe the word is not, it won't reduce your chance of getting an internship, but it's just that you probably will then begin to explore freelancing option, which is always great. We've seen people say, oh, I got more than this gig, and sometimes they even get to earn much more than somebody who is even on an internship. So by internship placement right now is that we're also looking at other opportunities like freelancing, like getting roles, like getting different roles aside from internship opportunities. So yes, internship can either be on site or it can be remote. It's dependent on the organization that we are working with. Internship can either be gotten by the fellow or by Tech for Dev. It's also dependent on availability. One of the things we do is to help you to put yourself at the forefront of being able to access an internship opportunities. We have soft skills training that will help you equipped for that. For sure.
Thank you so much, Blessing. You have covered a lot of our questions, and I believe that you also spoke on the internship program. Somebody must have asked, this internship program, are they going to be remote? Are they going to be on site? We can't say because this is dependent on the companies that we have access to. Some companies run an hybrid system, some people run on site, some people run remote. So you can be lucky that you are in Nigeria and you secure yourself a job in Morocco. You can be lucky that you are in Nigeria and you still secure a job for yourself in Nigeria that requires you to come on site. And you can even be in Nigeria and still get a job that is remote. It's all dependent on the company. How about us from Malawi? Are we eligible to apply?
Okay, Malawi is not part of the 22 African countries for the class of 2024. However, don't say I told you this, is that if you can tell a convincing story as to why you want to apply as well, you can apply. You would, the reviewing team would review and then they can consider. But the target is strictly on the 22 African countries. So I'll just say that again. If you can tell a convincing story as to why you need the application right now and how beneficiaries will be for you, how important it is for you, you can apply.
So somebody asked a very tricky question. I am currently processing my visa. So we don't know where she's going. What if it comes out when I am still in the fellowship program? Am I automatically not qualified anymore? That's if I have applied for the fellowship program and then my visa comes through. What then happens to me?
Okay, first of all, I will say Bolu Tife, you are a baller. I mean, for you to be processing a visa at this point in time, you're a very big baller. Okay, so the application, there are different stages to the application. If you have been selected and classes have commenced while your visa application comes on board, you can always send a mail to the Women Techsters team. There's a Women Techsters team, admin team. You can send an email and then you can state what it is at that particular point in time, and then they would advise you accordingly on what is obtainable at that particular point in time. So I'm not saying you will continue the program, and I'm not saying that you'll be disqualified. I'm just saying that when that time comes, if you make it, you can send an email and they can advise you on what the next steps should be like.
I think some of you are thinking of scenarios that are bringing out the worst in this application process. I'm just going to advise you: don't overthink things. You are going to get into the fellowship if you put your best foot forward, but don't. We are very nice people. We are very approachable. Yes, we get a lot of DMs, and it's because some people ask us some questions that we have answered on our social media page. So it takes time for us to get to some of your questions and inquiries. But we are very sweet people. Look at us giving you a platform for free. You know, so we would always listen to some of these significant unforeseen circumstances when the time comes, but don't overthink it, and don't think that there's anything beyond, how do I say, there's something that you can achieve. Think about the positive aspect. Think of communicating to the Women Techsters team first. Think of reaching us via social media. Think of sending us a mail. Think of something that would, convince us otherwise. Behind this Women Techsters Fellowship are human beings, and that's why we showed our face to you today, to know that it's not AI and robots running this organization. These are human beings with flesh and blood, so you can always approach us. Is internship possible in the US or Canada? Or must it be one of the fellowship countries? I think we've answered this. It must be one of the fellowship countries.
Can I add to it? I think I like the fact that some people are also thinking outside of the box, that you're asking that. I want to believe that you're in one of 22 African countries and you are saying, oh, can you give me internship placement maybe in US or in Canada? They can give you if it's available. So our internship partners are not restricted to the 15 African countries or restricted to any African countries. Our internship partners are cross board. So we have some internship partners in the UK or in the US. So it's also dependent on the skill sets that they are requesting for at that particular point in time. If it fits in on the criteria, why not if not? Do you understand? I believe that that's clear.
Thank you so much, Blessing. I think we've exhausted our 1 hour time, and I think we also tried our best to answer as many questions as we can answer. But the honest truth is, as soon as we are done with this, yes, the YouTube video would be available for everyone to rewatch. So if you're not on this live session or you missed a part of it and you're just feeling like, oh my God, I was in a meeting, I couldn't hear what they were saying, you're going to have access to it. So don't worry. This particular video will still be up on our YouTube as well. I want to encourage you to follow us on all our social media platforms: Instagram at Tech for Dev, Twitter at Tech for Dev HQ, LinkedIn at Tech for Dev, Facebook at Tech for Dev. So all our platforms, just search for Tech for Dev, apart from Twitter that you need to search for Tech for Dev HQ. We will always post things about the program, particularly because it's going live on Thursday. So go on our social media platform, follow us already, and interact with us. We will always interact with you in our comment sections and DMs as well. But try not to ask questions that we have already answered, already in the question, in some of our posts. If you need ginger, if you need to be motivated, read some of our testimonials, go to our website. You have a lot of stories on our Medium that we have posted, inspiring stories that will spur you to participate in this program. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for coming wherever you're coming from or wherever you're joining from Nigeria, from South Africa, wherever you are, Zambia, Gambia, wherever you are. We appreciate you for giving us your 1 hour, and we can't wait to have you on board. Please don't forget to follow all our social media platforms again, so that you can be the first to know every single information about the Women Techsters Fellowship. Also, on Thursday, we have our open day. This is the perfect time to sign up for our open day, which will be happening 4 p.m. on Thursday. Again, there will be a Ask Me Any Questions session that will speak to the Women Techsters Fellowship. So it's also another time to bring up your questions. So maybe now that we are done, another question comes to mind and you're not able to ask. Come on Thursday, 4 p.m. We are going to answer all of those questions. So come ready. We are expectant. We're expecting you guys. And yeah, Blessing, any last word for them?
Well, I think the last word from my hand to everyone is that I'm excited, and I want to also reiterate that Tech for Them is not here to. We are looking forward to getting as many people as possible, participate in the program, but it also requires your commitment, and your commitment also shows in the way you apply. Let me say this very quickly so that let me give you a free tip from the reviewers team. I'm not on the reviewers team. See my hand. I'm not on the reviewers team again. But let me say this very quickly is when they ask you a question around why are you applying for the program, and then I've seen some reviewers send me responses and I smile and I'm like, this person is never going to be selected because some people just write to learn. Like what? Do you know how many people are competing for that your position? And you just wrote to learn. You need to convince the person reading. The person reading is not a Nigerian for some people. The person reading is not from your locality. And you need to convince them. You need to help them see why they should select you. So go all out. Why are you applying for the program? State where you're coming from. State why. Of course, there's a maximum, there's a word count for it. But while there's a word count for it, give it your best shot. Tell your story as to why you should be selected. State why it's important to you. Do you understand? State why it's key to you. State why you want to participate on the program. And very important, I don't like to say it at the start of the program. So if you know that you apply for this program, you'll be selected and you will not participate, please do not apply. Like, don't reduce the chance for another person. If you already know that, in case you are wondering, when this class starting, class is supposed to commence sometimes in September. If you know that, I'm not going to be available from September to the end of the year or till next year, because if you count September to next year, that's like March. If you know you will not be available, please do not apply so that you don't reduce the chance of another person. I just thought I should say this right now. But if you know you'll be available for it, please put in your best foot forward. Just to reiterate, if you are less than 16 or you are above 40 years, you can apply. Just state a good story as to why you should be selected, regardless of the fact that you are not within the age limit. If you are not in a particular country, you can also apply. Just state a reason as to why the reviewer should consider you and how the program will be beneficial to you and to your community members as well. Something else is make sure you spread the news of the Women Techsters Fellowship to other women. Don't think that because if you tell them, you'll be reducing your chance. No, you are helping another sister. Be your sister's keeper today. So tell all of your sisters. For people who are on LinkedIn, you can add all of your sisters that you know on LinkedIn. Let them see the post. For people who are on Twitter, add your sisters on Twitter as well. For people who are on YouTube, you can refer people to listen to this live recordings again. That's also a way of contributing. If you are not selected again, I think if you are not selected this year, I think I saw a post somewhere. Somebody has mentioned that last year she was not selected, and this year she's applying again. And if she's not selected this year, she will come again next year. That's the spirit.
Oh,
But
girl.
I really wish that you're selected. But if you are not selected, it's not the end of the life of life. There are other programs that you can participate in. And there could be something you're not doing properly, maybe that skilling on the boot camp will be helpful for you and your comeback will be better. And who knows, you may be the best graduating student in your class. So
Yes,
that's the
so
spirit. That's my final words. Please sign up when you see the program.
thank you so much, Blessing. Again, I want to say that on Thursday is very packed for us. We're going to have a press briefing, just basically launching the class of 2024 and the application. And then we will start counting down to the application. So just stay glued to our social media pages and you will be the first to know when we go live. When the application goes live, you will be the first to know. So thank you very much, guys. We appreciate you for your time. This is still Tech for Dev, and the program is Women Techsters Fellowship, class of 2024. And we are looking forward to seeing your application and reading your story. We can't wait to tell them. I'm very serious. We can't wait to tell them. So enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are joining us from. See you or catch up on all our social media platforms.
Peace.